In this video, we will show you how to use Kaspersky EDR Optimum for investigation and response purposes and what tools are available to the user. The example that we're going to be using is an attack beginning with a classic phishing email and attachment. This attachment itself isn't actually malware, but it can be dangerous, and we'll see why now. Let's take a look at this attack scenario. The user receives an email with an attachment, which in this example is an executable. In an actual attack, of course, this could be something much sneakier. The user saves the file on their computer and launches it, and it tries to perform malicious actions. The installed Kaspersky Endpoint Security for Windows detects the malicious object via exploit prevention. Now, let's go to the Kaspersky Security Center and see what we have received in the console. To do that, we go to the Report section and show the report on threats. To see all the alerts we're interested in, we go to Details. And here we can see the incident that's occurred on the device and some basic information about it, like the device name, the detected file, and the malicious activity that's been performed. Now we want to see more details on this detect to make sure it's been fully remediated. We click on the Present button on the left, and now we are in the alert card generated by EDR Optimum. Here we can see the attack spread path visualization, which shows us the context of the alert, how the threat moved on this endpoint, and which actions and events are connected to it. Below that are the details of the alert, like date and time of the alert, malware category, where the process was detected. In this case, this was a memory process. Then you have the information about the host and the user, process information and other data, including the malicious file's metadata. To prevent further potential infection, we will isolate the host for the duration of the analysis. We do this with just a single click and then press OK. After the successful isolation, the device won't be able to attack other hosts until we make sure that this risk has been mitigated. Now we can get to the investigation. In the Download section, we have data on where the file originated. In our case, it's been downloaded as an email attachment. Here we can see the email app through which the file was downloaded, the user this email was sent to, and hashes of the email itself. Now, knowing that this file came through the corporate email server, we should probably check its configuration. It might also be a good idea to add the sender of this email to the block list. And if the sender is an internal user, we should check the device the email was sent from as it, or the user's account might be compromised. So, with just this data, we've already got some valuable insights into what's going on with our security infrastructure. Let's get back to the active investigation and figure out why this attack might be more than it seems, and whether we should take a look deeper inside. In the File section of the alert card, you can see links from MD5 and SHA-256 hashes of the file, which will lead us directly to the Kaspersky Threat Intelligence portal on opentip.kaspersky.com, where we can get additional data on the file with this hash. This portal contains data on a wide range of known threats, and you can find information like file reputation from hashes or check URLs, IP addresses, and domains. Interestingly, though, there's no information available on this file, meaning we're dealing with a new threat, which would be challenging to detect with traditional endpoint detection methods. Things are more complicated than we originally thought. This unknown threat might use evasion techniques to avoid detection, or could maybe add persistent components. Let's check out what this file has done on the endpoint. To do that, we turn to the Attack Spread Path visualization in the top part of the alert card. Below the file, you can see actions it has performed, file drops, process injections, network connections, and registry changes. First, let's click on the file drop action. Here we can see that this file has created several other files. A process injection has been detected, as well as several network connections to external IP addresses. And that's a clear indication that we should check our WebGate to make sure no other devices in our infrastructure have connected to these addresses. or we can simply put these IP addresses to a block list. And finally, we can check the changes in registry performed by this file. There's quite a few of them, which is suspicious, and we might want to check them further on. So what exactly has been going on here? Let's click on the detected file itself. On the right, you can see the details, and it looks like this is a temporary file that's been spawned by the parent file. Let's click on that parent file too. From its data, we can see it isn't a trusted file, but it hasn't been detected as known malware either, as we've already seen in the Threat Intelligence Portal. Because of this, and because it hasn't performed any outwardly malicious actions itself, only its spawned file did, it wouldn't be detected by an endpoint protection engine. So this file could sit undetected on this host for a long time, ready to be used in a potential future attack. This is especially dangerous if for any reason your hosts aren't receiving database updates, or if some components, like behavioral detection, have been switched off. At this point, we have gathered and analyzed all the information on the user, host, malicious file, and its actions and origin, and now we can start responding to this threat. The first thing we'll do is to forbid launching the parent file, which evades detection, on other hosts, so we prevent it from spawning the detected malicious object and performing other malicious actions. We can also quarantine the file if we choose to. To do this, we simply click on the file we need in the attack spread path, click Prevent Execution, and then click OK. Let's see what we've achieved. If we go to the main menu and then to Devices, Policies, Kaspersky Endpoint Agent, we can see that a new rule's been created in Application Settings, Execution Prevention. This rule forbids launching the file by identifying its MD5 hash. We can choose to configure other parameters as well if we'd like to, but the hash sum alone should be enough here. We activate the blocking component by clicking the Enforce button and setting the Apply Prevention Rules drop box to active. And we probably want to notify the users of the rule being triggered. Click Enforce on the prevention rules, then Save, and we're done. Because we've done this and we've applied the device policy, if the file now gets through to a different device and launches, its execution will be automatically blocked and the user will get a notification. Now let's create an indicator of compromise, an IOC, for this parent file. An indicator of compromise is basically a piece of forensic data which can be used to find signs or traces of malicious objects or activity in our systems. This will allow us to scan other hosts for this IOC and the associated file now and in the future and respond to it on discovery. To do that, we need to open information on this file, select it, and press Create IOC. Here you can see an IOC generation pane. Here, you can check a condition if you're using several objects for IOC creation. You can see basic information and, probably most importantly, you can select the response actions to be performed automatically on discovery of this IOC on other hosts. Responses could be network isolation, scanning critical areas with Kaspersky Endpoint Security for Business Engine, or removing and quarantining this file on discovery. We'll choose the last two to make sure there are no traces of malware in the critical areas of scanned hosts and to remove the malicious file. Then we click Create Task. The IOC scanning task has been created, and now all we have to do is launch it. We do this by going to the Devices, Tasks section and selecting the newly created task. You can see it down below with the task type IOC scan. All we need to do now is launch this task by clicking Start. As with other tasks, we can open its options by clicking on it and taking a look at the results. As you can see, the task has been completed successfully on 2 hosts already, and the IOC has been discovered in both cases. We can go to Application Settings, Results to find more detailed results. As you can see here in the second row, besides the original host, this indicator of compromise has been detected on a server. Let's dig deeper by clicking on the link in the Results column and then clicking on the link Matched in the State column. We see that the IOC scan has completed successfully and a file has been discovered with the specified hash. It's a temporary file this time. And we can see which part of the IOC has been triggered, which is especially useful if you have a composite IOC, for example, generated from several hashes. On the devices where this IOC has been discovered, the specified response task was launched automatically and malicious files have been moved to quarantine. Now, let's take a look at a slightly more advanced scenario. Let's suppose our industry is currently under a massive attack from a new evasive threat. Naturally, we want to know if we're actually under attack ourselves, but don't yet know it, or if our systems are still clean. To do this, we can import an indicator of compromise from a trusted source into Kaspersky EDR Optimum, or even, as we'll look at doing this right now, create an IOC from a hash we've found online. So, as an example, you can find information on the latest threats on our website, securelist.com. Here we have a detailed overview of an I Am the King and Slothful Media malware family. We'd like to know if traces of this very dangerous attack are anywhere in our infrastructure. So, let's go to the bottom of the page where several indicators of compromise associated with this attack are published. We'll use one of the hashes from this list and insert it into an IOC file. We'll take an IOC file we've used before, for example, the one we just generated, and create a copy of it to insert our new hash into. We're doing this just because it's simpler than creating a new IOC file from scratch or trying to find one that's just right for this task. Now, we'll just copy the hash from securelist.com, add it into the content tag, save it, and that's it. The same would apply if we wanted to use several hashes. We just need to insert them into other tags using an or and rule. The only thing left to do is to add this indicator of compromise as a new IOC task. We open it as before and go to Application Settings. Here we can import the IOC file by pressing Redefine IOC Files, and on the newly opened pane, Add IOC Files. We select the IOC file we've just created from the list and press OK. We check the response actions and press Save. Last thing to do is launch the task as we did before by selecting it in the Tasks menu and pressing Start. So now we've made sure that if this threat appears on any of our machines, we'll be warned about it and response actions will already have been performed automatically as soon as it's discovered. IOC scans in Kaspersky EDR Optimum can be performed on request, as we've done here, or we can set up a schedule to scan for these IOCs periodically. Thank you for watching our short overview and learning how to analyze, investigate, and respond to threats with Kaspersky EDR Optimum. Check out our other Tech Dive videos and stay safe.